What's cracking, you people? Anansi here, and welcome back to Jade Empire. In the last one, we spent time catching up with our crew and seeing how they think and what they feel about the current situation. We flirted with um, Silk Fox and Dawnstar, and kind of got a little bit more of a bromance going on with Sky. And in this one, we're going to continue on by, well, starting our next round of region-specific side quests. Now, I'm not going to do these in any particular order, but we are going to start off over here.
If you think you've seen this person, you must report it to the authorities at once. It is your duty.
Woufna aknair Yakowa krui ni rui kuperfita.
No more excuses. Your father was always full of excuses. It tires me to no end. You know what you have to do, so go do it.
Please, Purveyor, don't send me in there. I'm scared those things will see me before I can get into the cave. Please, don't make me do it.
Quernurk apayir. Quanurk kakanir. Ni usota.
I have been patient with you, Jinlin, but your father has been dead for almost a week now. It is time for you to pay off his debts.
Mo wowirika titarir kone of atarir.
Now go. Or perhaps you prefer for you and your mother to be sent at the wall.
No! I will go. Please don't hurt my mother. I'll get the artifact for you. I promise.
Siyir sukut af knewo kup kipsitir sunurk.
A wise decision. You know where to find me once you have it. Do not keep me waiting, Jinlin. Man, I read a lot of that guy's stuff completely wrong.
The city can be a harsh place for children, but we don't have time to help them.
Says you so, Fox. What's going on, Jinlin?
What do you want? You're working for Purveyor Shuji, aren't you? Please don't tell him I haven't gone yet. I'm going now, even though it will probably get me killed.
Calm down. I'm not with the Purveyor.
I'm sorry. I'm just a little upset. I'm Jinlin. Is there something you want?
I saw what happened earlier. I'd like to help you.
Thanks, but I need to find a way to kill spirits. Purveyor Shuji wants me to fetch an artifact from an emperor's tomb in the necropolis, but it's filled with ghosts. The Purveyor's... He threatened to sell my mom to slave traders if I don't get this artifact. I don't know what to do. I can't fight ghosts.
Perhaps I can get rid of the ghost for you.
Really? It would be very dangerous, and I don't have anything to give you in return. Are you sure you want to do this?
And I never back down for a good fight.
I see. Well, thank you just the same. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't offered. The tomb is over in the necropolis. The door is locked, but I can sneak inside and open it. I just have to be careful not to alert the ghosts. If you really think you can get rid of the ghosts, I'll head over to the tomb and wait for you there.
Can I ask you some questions before you go?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Why are you working for the Purveyor?
My father worked for Purveyor Shuji until he died. He left last week to retrieve the same artifact for the Purveyor. The ghosts must have killed him. When my father disappeared, he had some of the Purveyor's equipment. Now Purveyor Shuji says we must repay him. My mother works for him, but I don't know where he's taken her, and I have to sneak around ghosts and other beasts to fetch the Purveyor's trinkets and baubles.
Okay, tell me more about this artifact.
I only know what Shuji told me, and that's not much. He called it a pestle and mortar. It's a bowl and a mixer, I think. He said it had something to do with a recipe. I don't know if you use it to make something, or if the recipe is in the bowl already. Anyway, the Purveyor is very interested in it. I've never seen him so anxious.
Why doesn't the Purveyor get the artifact himself?
Purveyor doesn't do that kind of work. He likes to get other people to do it for him. Besides, the tomb is locked from the inside, but there's a small opening. He says I'm small enough to fit through the crack in the wall. I don't mind that as much as the ghosts. The tomb is filled with them. Once I'm in, I'll just be killed.
Alright, I should be going now.
Great! I'll wait by the steps of the Emperor's tomb. I'm sure you'll find it easily enough. See you soon, I hope.
So you want to start off by getting Jinlin's quest, because we're going to end up going to the Necropolis eventually, but not right now. I hope she's fine with the ghost. It shouldn't be too big a deal as long as she stays out of sight and doesn't do anything stupid. But first things first, I want to go over here.
Where are those mercenaries?
What's up, my dude?
Greetings, citizen. Imperial Captain Sen at your service. Are you one of the mercenaries come to help me track down some criminal scum?
Okay, Barbara, I see what you're doing. Why would you think that?
I was told that there were some new warriors in town looking for work, though none of them matched your description. Admittedly, you don't resemble the ones described to me, but they're several days late. No doubt they'll blame it on the foolish ghost stories.
It sounds like these mercenaries have just forfeited their job to me.
I need help tracking down a pair of criminals. Are you interested in a little well-paying work?
I'm interested. Tell me what you need.
These two scoundrels have eluded my best efforts, so I'm turning to bounty hunters. It's harder to run when your pursuers are not in a uniform.
Captain Sen is a well-respected man here in the city, but something about him makes my skin crawl. His ambition is well hidden. Perhaps that's all there is to it.
I'm searching for an arsonist and a notorious confidence man. Find and eliminate either one, and there's a standard bounty in it for you.
You've got a deal.
A wise decision. The two criminals are Fading Moon and Creative Yukong. Fading Moon is an arsonist who was last spotted heading for the Necropolis. Creative Yukong has virtually disappeared, though we may be able to learn something from Lady Rento, the wife of the man Yukong bilked. She's in the Imperial Arena.
Okay, let's hear about Fading Moon.
Fading Moon is an arsonist. Her first fires were in the poor quarters, but her last one spread to the Market District Gate. Last we heard, she had escaped to the Necropolis.
Okay, so we have another one to do in the Necropolis. It's good to get these things out the way, or get these missions collected up front, so that way when you do hit the certain areas, you can just knock them out real fast. Why was nothing done to catch her earlier?
Well, as I said, she confined them to the poor districts. She would have been impossible to catch in that rat's nest. More frankly, there isn't enough money to make it worth my effort.
Could I see the scene of the crime?
The gates between here and the poorer districts will be closed for some time while repairs are underway. There's nothing particular about the scene of the crime, just ash.
Okay, let's hear some details surrounding Creative Yukong.
Yukong fleeced some silver from Lord Rento, a powerful man in the Ministry of Harmony. Yukong is a master of disguise, and he has hidden himself somewhere in the city. Lord Rento is away on court business, but his wife informed me that she'd be in the heart of the Empire in the Imperial Arena if we needed her. You could start there.
What could she tell me?
She knows the details of the theft better than I. Lord Rento was reluctant to discuss them. Yukong could be anywhere or anyone, and Lady Rento is the only lead we have.
Alright, that should be enough. Let's go.
Right you are. Remember to keep an eye out for anyone suspicious.
So let's go ahead and head to the Imperial Arena and talk to Lady Rento. Yeah, I forget that some parts of the game need to load up for whatever reason. No, not even for a reason. It's just certain chunks of the game need to deload in order for other ones to load. It's a common issue with games in this generation of console. Remember, this is an original Xbox game title, even if it's special edition. And as overpowered as the original Xbox was, and I mean legit overpowered, like When I did some looking into the consoles of this time, it was the Xbox, the GameCube, and the PlayStation 2. These were the game consoles of this era. The GameCube was underpowered but had a decent selection of games. It's just that it was marketed more for a very, very, very young audience, so I think it didn't do too well when stacked up to Xbox and PlayStation, which had a more teen to late teenage audience to it. Anything you want to say to me? Didn't we just get done talking to you?
You must go to the Lotus Assassin Fortress like we agreed. Find the evidence against Death's Hand, and I will help you rescue Master Li.
Is there anything you want to discuss before I get moving? Anything personal?
I'm not sure we have the time. There are too many important matters at stake. We need to make progress before I will feel comfortable spending more time on idle chatter.
Okay. I think that's just for if you haven't gone to the, got to get the main quest yet. So looking for Lady Rento. Patron. About, let's talk to Gambler Daoshan.
They say you're in good with the guild. You're allowed into the back rooms where Sweet Poison Lin runs her shop, aren't you? I have a favor to ask of you when you have a moment. My name's Gambler Daoshan, by the way. I run the straightest dice in the Imperial City. I wouldn't want to feed my children with tarnished silver, would I? Good odds and fair play. That's how I keep them coming back.
What's the nature of the game?
A simple enough game called High-Low. You predict how you'll roll against my toss and double your coin if you're right. You'll catch on easily enough, I'm sure.
What's this favor you need me to do?
I know you're allowed to go freely into the back room past Kui's office. Would you carry a message to someone in there for me?
What message do you need me to carry?
There's a merchant in the back named Sweet Poison Lin. She has connections with the guild, the real authorities in this place. I want to expand my operation, but without the guild's approval and protection, I can only take very small bets. If I made any larger transactions, they'd be quite upset.
What would it take to get the protection?
I spoke to some of the lesser guild members, and there's a set fee that must be paid to Sweet Poison Lin. It took me some time to save up the silver, but I have the fee. I just can't get back there to talk to Lin and pay her directly. If you could go in there and pay her on my behalf, I'd happily repay you.
What would happen if you did go above their limit on your bets?
I would never do that. I'd be shut down or worse in a heartbeat. And there's too many people who'd happily report the infraction to Sweet Poison Lin. The guild rewards those who can prove that people in my position aren't playing by their rules.
How would I benefit from helping you?
A richer game with higher bets, of course. I'm sorry I can't offer you more, but you must admit this is a small favor.
I'd be happy to help. I will talk to her.
My thanks. I'm sure Sweet Poison Lin knows about my interest. I've been angling this deal for a while. You should run back there now. The sooner you go, the sooner we can up the antes.
So basically the whole point of this is that if you want to get more silver, but you're lacking in some aspects, you can always go to this guy to get more. It's a way of, I believe, well, just upping your income. Can we go back here now? Yes, we can. Is there anything back here worth taking? Aha! Kylon Stash. Trap sprung, folks of Eid. And we got an Aura of Calm. Scales of the Serpent, Absolute Dedication, and 5,000 silver. You know, fun fact, I never knew this was back here. I've actually never been back there. I'm not even kidding. Let's see. Scales of the Serpent, +7 to health, +1 intimidation. Your study of carefully kept notes penned by Kylon the Serpent has led you to an understanding of his techniques. His notes outline a series of postures and forms designed to make the user tougher and more intimidating. These postures likely explain his success in seizing control of the Imperial Arena. Yeah, I never just was back here. And Kai lost Ash. But they were the folks that made that one. So yeah. Oh, and there's another one. There's quite a bit of stuff back here, but the real prize was the middle chest here. So yeah, if you go through here, if you ever have any need of just more silver, you can always stop. You can go to Sweet Poison Lin, get Daoshin's ante up, and then you can bet more on the stakes.
What do you need from me?
I need to talk to you about gambler Daoshin.
Daoshin? He has angled for a long time for our permission to run a larger game. He's honest to a fault, but he still pulls in a fair bit of cash. I was wondering if he'd be resourceful enough. One of my associates has already told him of the cost involved. Are you here to deliver his payment?
I have the 500 silver right here.
His payment? Good. Give it to me, and I'll send someone to go discuss the new terms of his operation. Now, back to our business, yes?
Let me see what you got real fast, because we actually have a decent amount of silver, and I think, how much, 1,000 cuts? Yeah, we can take this. This is roughly half. It is half our money, so this isn't too bad. Now, what you can do, and yes, you actually can keep his 500 silver and just use it as you feel. Happy endings, this courtesan.
I don't want to talk to you. You're the reason Kailan is dead. I had a good thing going with the serpent. He paid a handsome fee, but he never trusted me enough to make use of my services. Now that's all gone. Thanks a lot.
Huh. So apparently Happy Endings was essentially a courtesan, which is... Okay, I think it's strange. I don't think a courtesan is 100% a prostitute. I think they could provide services like that, but they were more or less like company to anything. But according to her, all she did was just stand in the corner. He would just pay her to just kind of be there. And since he's dead, she doesn't deal with us. And once again, even if we left him alive, you wanted, indulge in her services. She was exclusive to Kai Lan, so there really wasn't any reason behind her. Let's see here now. Where is? I see. I need to talk to these guys.
You have our collective congratulations, champion. You have done great things in this place.
I knew you could do it. Congratulations, champion.
Not much to do at the top. No.
Yeah, that's just Iron. This is Iron. Iron Soldier. Pretty much. What's the word? Here's Lady Rento.
Don't you just love the Imperial Arena? No other place like it in all of the Jade Empire. Wait a moment. You're Silver Phoenix. How very nice to meet you. I'm Lady Rento.
Yeah, at least you seem amicable. I'm here to talk to you about Creative Yukong.
Oh, poor Yukong. Captain Sen's still willing to do my husband's bidding and hunt him down, is he? I swear, my husband is insufferable. Yukong's a harmless aspiring actor who asked me if I would act as his patron. Since my husband was away from the city, again, I accepted and gave Yukong a moderate stipend. I thought he was charming.
Why is Yukong wanted for confidence schemes?
That was how my husband presented the situation to the authorities. He didn't want to face the shame of supporting a humble actor. My husband's a fool, but when he lowers his head, all I can do is let him charge and hope he rams something solid enough to slow him.
So, yeah, okay. How much did you give this actor?
Probably less than my husband is putting forth as a bounty for poor Yukong. That young man doesn't deserve this.
Do you have any idea where I can find Creative Yukong?
I would wager that you'll find him in the Scholars' Garden. Yukong was going to try out for that new play. It's going to be put on soon in the Golden Way, I'm told. Should be exciting to watch. Yukong was going to try out for a role as a scholar, so he may be using his costume to hide in the garden. He's not much of a scholar, so you should be able to spot him.
I should let you get back to what you're doing.
If you happen to find Creative Yukong, do go easy on him, would you?
The poor boy did nothing wrong, and my husband is being unusually cruel to him. Good luck with your search. I have to get back to the estate. So much to do.
And like that, Lady Rental disappears from the story. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk to Daoshin.
Before you say a thing, I had a visit from one of Sweet Poison Lin's contacts. Fantastic news! I can up the bets. Now you can wager 10 or 25 silver on each roll. This is perfect, and I have you to thank. Thank you again for paying the fee from your own silver. Here's your repayment and a little extra for your time.
Oh right, you have to use your own 500. Now you could take it, but dudes are nice guys. I'm like, you know what? Keep the silver. You'll need it to cover the larger bets.
1,000 thanks to you. I promise to use your generous gift wisely. Now that we can play for larger bets, what say we set up a game?
Sure, let's roll the dice. I'd like to try my luck.
That's what I was waiting to hear. So what'll it be? Will your roll be higher or lower than mine?
No, I think this is random. There's no way to tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet lower. I'm betting I'll be under your roll.
Aiming under my roll, are ya? I'm happy with that if you are. How confident are you?
Now, I think before he could only wager up to 5 silver, but now we got 10 to 25. Let's go ahead and wager 25.
Let's see how they fall, shall we? Rolling low and winning large. You called it well. What say we try again?
Now, we could get caught in this, but that's enough for now. I should go.
Thanks again for all your help. Be seeing you around, I hope.
So we got a Superior Warrior Gem, 25 silver, and open palm status. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You place your bet, and the cutscene will play, and I think it'll just randomly decide if it's high or low. Nothing too crazy with regards to that. So, yeah, I guess now what we're doing this one. Going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get one more side quest that we can grab here in the Scholar's Garden. The Scholar's Garden here inside the Imperial City, because there is one more we can grab. But it is kind of odd that it is funny when you think about creator Yukong and what he's wanted for, because you might be thinking, why would someone not want to support an actor? Well, bit of a history lesson for you as someone who went to acting school. I know it shows so well in my voice acting. There was a point in time, and I think this was pretty much around the world, as far as I can tell, up until a certain point. Like even during, like you think like Shakespeare and a lot of these other great playwrights, there was a time where being an actor was akin to being a prostitute, and a lot of people didn't want to support that because they thought it was degeneracy. So, what would happen is that actors would often be underpaid, kind of just wandering from place to place, and be essentially just kicked out of anywhere just because they were seen.
I know you did it, Ling. It's just a matter of proving it to the minister. Okay, interesting. So we got another one here. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like, historically speaking, actors did not get a good rap. And this is true. This is just this is something that we can look to in historical context. So we'll get more into that in a second. But let's pick up this one here. Prefect Jitong. Good day, sir. Are you the new investigator I sent for? No, I can tell from your attire that you're not from the ministry. Oh, this is terrible. Everyone I send for disappears. There are powers at work here that are beyond my means to control.
Who are you?
I am Prefect Jitong. It is my duty to ensure that convicted criminals in the city are sentenced appropriately. But there are complications with my current trial. I have in my custody a suspected slave trader, Chandler Ling.
but one of the high-ranking ministers is trying to get him released, and he wants me to convict another man. The man they want to accuse, Scholar Sun Tao, is a friend of mine, and I'm certain of his innocence. I need you to find proof so I can present it to the Minister of Justice.
Alright, where should I start? See, I'm not going to go with the first one because that's a little too eager. I need some proof.
So, you'll help me? That's wonderful. All I need, really, is proof. Proof that Ling is indeed involved with the slave traders. If I can't prove Ling's guilt, I'll be forced to sentence Song Tao to death. But every time I ask someone to discover the truth, they disappear or turn up dead. Our best lead is Zibao, the last person known to have spoken with Ling before his arrest. But Bao knows me and my men. He won't talk to us.
Okay, I want to know more about Scholar Sung Tao.
I've known Scholar Song Tao for several years. His uncle and my father were good friends. I only wish I knew why the governor wants him accused of this crime. If you want to know more about Song Tao, you should speak with him yourself.
Okay, tell me about Chandler Ling.
Chandler Ling is a well-respected businessman and merchant here in the city. Until recently, I had no reason to suspect him of any wrongdoing. When I investigated Ling's shop, I found a valuable knife that I had purposely entrusted to one of my men, a man who has since disappeared. Chandler Ling had a knife belonging to a man whose body couldn't be found. That was all the evidence I required.
Okay, that seems a little bit suspicious, but it could just be circumstantial. What is Zibao's connection to Chandler Ling?
I have no idea. The two men were seen together before we arrested Ling, but I have no other information about Zibao. He spends most of his time in the heart of the Empire Tavern, and he doesn't seem to have dealings with anyone else besides Chandler Ling. I know if I went to speak with him, I would get nowhere, but you could speak to him without raising suspicion.
Okay, what about these slave traders?
I wish there was something concrete I could tell you. They're like a whisper on the wind or a shifting shadow. You think you see something, and then there's nothing. Whoever is behind the slavers must have a great deal of power. To remain that invisible is a hard thing to do.
I'll go find Zibao then.
Good. Look for him in the heart of the Empire Tavern. It's upstairs at the Imperial Arena. Don't scare him away. If we lose him, we lose our last connection to Ling.
Do we have time to deal with this? I didn't agree to join you so we could solve everyone else's problem.
Relax, you'll learn, you'll learn. Okay, Chandler Ling.
I don't know why you're wasting your time. I'm obviously innocent, and yet you still want to risk yourself needlessly.
Why are you sure I'll be at risk?
I'm no fool. Those men haven't returned, and I can assure you it isn't because they've decided to take a holiday. Chasing after criminals is dangerous work. Obviously, there are risks involved. Why would you risk yourself when even the local minister seems content with the scholar's arrest?
Well, tell me about yourself, Chandler Ling.
What's to tell? I'm a merchant and quite a good one. My clients are usually very happy with my goods. You likely haven't heard of me simply because I have a very elite clientele. The average person on the street cannot afford the items I sell. Other than my occupation, I suspect we are very much the same, you and I, though I happen to be a little more restricted than you at the moment.
Why you were arrested? What were you doing?
Doing? I wasn't doing anything more than I usually do in a day's work. I was selling my wares to a few of my preferred clients. Prefect Jitong was one of them. The next thing I know, guards confiscate my goods and tell me I'm suspected of slave trading. It was likely the most ludicrous thing I've ever been told. Of course, the prefect claims that some of my items belong to his missing men, but that doesn't mean I took the items from their lifeless bodies.
How did you acquire those items along with the Jitong's men?
In a given day, I meet with several buyers and probably twice as many sellers. There are always more sellers than buyers. My job is to determine whether something is worth buying, not whether the seller is worth buying from. If I see a bargain, I don't care who the seller is. Suffice to say, those items could be from any number of sellers. I don't recall who sold them to me, but that certainly doesn't make me guilty of slave trading.
I'll admit, it is a leap in logic, and it does make an amount of sense. I should be going then. Goodbye.
Of course. Do what you need to. If you discover anything, it will only prove my innocence further. Good luck.
Though that last one's a bit presumptuous. Scholar Sung Tao.
So you think you can free me? Prefect Jitong has sent many good men to their deaths trying to free me. I hope you won't get into similar trouble.
How do you know they are dead?
Well, that's what Jitong fears. I have no reason to doubt him. Besides, why else would the men not return and their belongings suddenly appear on the market?
Pure coincidence. It's not proof. It's purely circumstantial. Anyone will tell you that.
At any rate, it seems likely that's what has happened to the men. I feel terrible for them, but I have my own problems to deal with, as you can see.
Okay, tell me about yourself, Scholar Sung Tao.
I am a scholar, though still a junior scholar by most regards. I assist the philosophers and scholars with their work. It's a good life, though I can't help feeling guilty sometimes. The scholars and philosophers have many privileges, while so many live with so little. I spend my spare time in the poor quarters, helping where I can. If I have any extra money, I use it to help the people there. It's not much, but I like to think it helps.
Why were you arrested? What were you doing?
I don't know. I was just down in the poor quarters helping a family with some repairs on their hut. I was leaving their house when the guards came for me. They told me I was suspected of abducting people from the poor quarters. I told them it was ridiculous, that I only wanted to help the poor, but they didn't listen. I admit I spend time in the poor quarters, but I don't try to hide it. I'm there several times a week, in fact, usually in plain sight of everyone.
Tell me what you know about Chandler Ling.
Well, nothing really. I'd never heard of him before this. I heard what Jitong said about him, but that's about it. He seems decent enough, I suppose.
What do you know about the slave traders?
Nothing. I've heard rumors in the past few months. The residents in the poor areas were getting worried, though I never knew anyone who disappeared. One of the girls I helped out in the poor area said her uncle had disappeared, but I never met him. She was devastated, of course, and she blamed the slavers. But it was all just speculation. No one had ever seen anyone being abducted. There wasn't even evidence of struggles or violence. I don't know what else to tell you.
I must be going. Goodbye.
I understand. If there's anything that might help you find the slave traders, I will gladly tell you. Please, don't give up until you've found them.
So we have I won't say it's a classic BioWare trope, because I've only ever played 2 BioWare games that, well, I guess technically 3, that had this kind of whodunit scenario. I want to say Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect had this, but I'll admit nothing comes immediately to mind. The one that I am most familiar with is from, well, the Knights of the Old Republic, where you bump into a character who's one of your party members, and then you head to one of the worlds on your quest. And on that world, as a side quest, your party member, the wife of his friend, comes up and tells you that he's been arrested for murder. And the thing is, he did it on a planet where the Republic and the Sith both reside, but there is a very strict rule saying that neither one can cause trouble, because this planet happens to be where the entire galaxy supply of the best healing equipment resides. So, I'm going to make sure I save here just in case. I am known to not save when I need to. But is where the best healing supply in the whole galaxy resides, and they don't pick sides. So if anyone causes trouble, the sentences are pretty harsh. I think it's either life imprisonment or death, and they were going to kill this guy. But your partner makes it very clear he doesn't know what to believe. He just says you should look into this. And when it's done, when you beat the mission, like when you complete it, no matter what outcome you choose, whether you choose to prove that the guy is innocent or guilty, your party member says, I don't know what to believe. Is one of the more clever ideas for it than anything else. And this is kind of the same situation where unlike in the original, where it's like you have, I say original, and like in Knights of the Republic, where you have basically just the main guy to talk to as his defense attorney, and I think the prosecution. This one you have both accused, and they both seem like decent dudes with relatively solid alibis. So it's all down to this guy and what you get from him.
What do you want? Do I know you?
No, but I know you, Sabao.
Really? Lots of people know me, so what? I'm a little busy right now. I've got a bowl of wine that needs drinking, so why don't you just find someone else to bother?
Now we can lie, or we can say I need to take these slave traders, but honestly, with someone like this, it would make more... I'm going to try the lying first, because you can scare him off. Ling told me you'd take me to see the slave traders.
Who? I don't know anybody by that name, and I don't know anything about slave traders. Leave me alone. I have nothing to say to you, so why don't you just keep moving?
Now we could charm him, or we can pay him, or we can intimidate him. Now, I don't think my intimidation skills actually up high enough, but let's see what happens.
Look, you don't have to get that way. These guys are ruthless. I'm just looking out for myself. I hope they decide to kill you instead of me. Come on, I'll take you there now, but I can't promise you'll get a warm reception.
And you saw right there was this red aura that conglomerated into me. That's the way of the closed fist. And I believe you pretty much get it for every single act of intimidation here, but in this situation, I don't understand why. I think the idea is that if you're truly walking the straight and narrow, you shouldn't have to worry about doing this, but I think for the greater good, and since you know this is the case...
Zibao, what is the meaning of this? Summoning me to this place was bad enough. You know I can't stand the stench of these beasts. I've already dealt with the last shipment of slaves, and with that damned prefect poking into our affairs, we have to be extra cautious. Now, there's an unknown quantity in this little meeting. Just who are you?
I'm interested in your little business arrangement.
In the slave market, are you? Funny how I find that a bit suspicious, especially given that we've had run-ins with several of Prefect Jitong's investigators. Zibao was a fool to bring anyone here. We can't afford anyone nosing into our affairs right now, and you've heard too much. Get him, boys, but don't kill him. We'll get quite a bit of silver for this one.
Okay, so why is he gay? This dude is very clearly, like, gay. Why is he gay? That is so freaking weird. So we're going to go ahead, and I want to show you a couple of new stats that we got. So we got 1,000 Cuts and Tang's Vengeance. Right, I forgot. I've been playing a different game all day, so I kind of forgot that that's not the case. So if you played, so pretty much Tang's Vengeance is just Black Romans axe style, but made for your character. Now here is 1,000 Cuts. And that's the move. So basically that's what you do here. That's all styles and customs. You're pretty much hitting as much as you can. And now I want to bring up something here. I played most of the game. Oh wait, we're pretty much done.
This has gone far enough. You're far better than the last dog who dared cross us. Maybe I was hasty in my decision to attack you. I have an eye for raw talent. That helps when picking slaves, but it comes in handy in sizing up potential allies. Who are you, and why are you here? You're clearly too skilled to be one of the fools hired by Prefect Jitong. So what business or grudge do you have with us?
I should have brought Sky for this. Jitong asked me to help him free Song Tao. That led me to you.
You are with Jitong. Unless he was dipped in silver recently, there's no way he could afford a warrior of your skill. Not on government pay. You're better than that. You've just shown me your strength. Any poor wretch who had the discipline to fight like you wouldn't let themselves be enslaved. Someone like you deserves to work with me, not oppose me. I have a friend who could use your help, and I'm prepared to pay for it.
Are you done talking? I have a slaver to kill.
If only I had a silver coin for every time I've heard that. Come then, let's end it.
No, I don't know what fighting style he uses. I think, oh yeah, it's Storm Dragon. Okay, my bad. In this light hard style. So yeah, so now that we have a decent amount of martial arts styles that are pretty much just like straight up combat, you can now swap between a whole bunch of different martial arts styles to make yourself seem like a Bruce Lee god. So it is nice to have. Now, but at this point in the game, you've pretty much sunk a lot of your time into probably other skills. Like my legendary strike is pretty much the strongest skill I got. But as you can tell, it's not really killing him all that fast. I guess no, it is. So there you go. Slave documents. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. You have the skills to take care of. There's no problem, but you now have more martial art styles to really mix up your fighting style. If you've gotten bored of using the same damage dealing styles over and over up to this point in the game. Slave document. What does the slave document say? Several pages detailing the actions and transactions of the slave traders in the Imperial City. These documents clearly indicate that Chandler Ling is involved with the slave traders. So, okay, let's go. I think we got another one. Absolute dedication. What's this? More experience from human enemies, no powers from human enemies. With proper focus on the techniques of your human enemies, you pick up lessons and moves that help you develop your own style. Your dedication to learning in combat is so absolute, however, that you have no time or attention to seek recovery during combat. Only continue study, and not risk by a crisis is important. So basically, we have a gym that pretty much ups our experience in fighting human enemies, and I honestly should have looked at that before I fought these four, but you know that's not too bad. You're gonna fight a predominant amount of human enemies anyway, or at least humanoid enemies. No, I think it's specifically human enemies. Wow, look, here are the bones of Lucky Joe. They just left him there. I never noticed that. But yeah, no, you're going to get to a point. Having this gym will definitely help you in leveling a lot of your skills. As you can see, I have not used a lot of my levels on, I would say, a good chunk of the abilities of each martial style. I mostly focus on damage increases, speed increases, and cost reductions for the most part. But if you want to max out a style, that is something you freely can. After all, you do gain skill points exponentially as you go throughout the game. It's not just one skill point. I think our next level we might end up getting like 16 or so, which is enough to actually, and I do appreciate this, is enough to actually like power level certain skills. Val's gone. So now we have what we need. We can go prove that Chandler Ling, the somewhat upstanding guy, has been dealing in slave trading. And this is something that I will criticize Jade Empire for. With Knights of the Republic, BioWare, the writers, very clearly took inspiration and say, look, things are very clearly not that black and white, and they wanted to shake up the Star Wars format because it's very clear. It's like, okay, you're helping out the good guy. Obviously, the good guy did it, but at the end of it, this one character, one of your party members, outright says, I don't know if he did it or if he didn't do it. I just pray the right answer, the right outcome occurred. And this one is very clear cut. Yeah, Chandler Ling is the bad guy. And I hope that in more RPGs, now granted, this is in early, I think like 2004-ish, so I will give it a pass for that, but I'm hoping later RPGs that do this kind of investigative work throw you a lot more red herrings where you really have to think through the answer, and then when you do provide your answer, it doesn't tell you if you were right or wrong. You just have to go off of your gut feeling. And that would be that would be interesting to see. Now, hello there, Prefect Jitong.
There you are. The governor sent Ho Chong, one of his lapdogs, to oversee the trial. I hope you learned something, or I'll have to proceed with Song Tao's sentencing.
I spoke with Zibao, and he took me to the slavers.
He took you there? That's incredible. That's remarkable. Well, what did you find? Have you discovered evidence that exonerates Scholar Song Tao?
Yes, I have. It's right here. Take a look for yourself.
Ha! That doesn't prove a thing. Pieces of paper can be bought and sold just like anything. Just like anyone.
I'm afraid you're quite mistaken, Chandler Ling. This proves a great many things, including your guilt. I never suspected the slavers were so well connected.
Let me see that. Well, this certainly looks interesting. I suppose Scholar Song Tao can go free then. And you, Chandler Ling, will come with me for sentencing. It will be quick and harsh, I suspect. This sort of thing will not be tolerated in the Empire.
It's all a lie. You don't know what you're doing. You're all making a very big mistake.
Thank you. Thank you for risking yourself to help me. If there's anything I can do to repay you, please ask.
I'm just glad the innocent man didn't suffer.
You are too kind. I have no real way to repay you. However, I do have some items you might be interested in. They're not here, of course. Come and find me in the Scholar's Garden, and I will be glad to show you what I have. I'll see you there. Goodbye, and thank you again.
Well, at least that's out of the way. Now we need to find evidence of our own. Unless you've forgotten completely about Death's Hand and my father?
No, I haven't, but it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt to help out here and there. There's some Lian. Now, we got a couple more gems earlier. Got the I think we have Aura of Calm gem. Plus 2 by raising only ways of the open palm can use this gem. So this is basically a counterpart to. Didn't I have? I have a couple of Aura Calm gems. I could probably sell a couple of these. I might end up doing that. So, in the next one, so we're going to have to call it part here today. In the next one, we're going to continue on through to the next area of the game. Not the next area, but the next part of the city to continue on with more side quests. I've been Anansi, you've been awesome, and I will catch you later. Deuces.